This program brought to you by Warringah Park.
Welcome to the richest camp draft ever staged in Australia, the Warringah Park World Championship Gold Buckle Camp Draft. It's 4 days of true traditional Aussie horsemanship. One rider, one horse and one cow. All you got to do is pick a cow out of the camp, get it out the gates, around the course and back through the gates. Sounds simple, doesn't it? This sport is a genuine Australian sport, and this week Australia's best camp drafters are all coming to Warringah Park, all vying for the $250,000 cash prize and the Warringah Park Gold Buckle. Get set to witness the fastest growing equine sport in Australia, camp drafting. Welcome to Outback Cowboys. Where else would you stage the biggest and best Australian camp draft ever? At Warringah Park, situated at Borley Point on the coast of New South Wales. This week, this stunning equine facility has opened its gates for the Warringah Park World Championship Gold Buckle Camp Draft.
Something that Australia's been screaming out for the last 50 years. Been to the biggest events right throughout this nation, from Melbourne to Perth, Adelaide, and every major city in between with camp drafting and rodeo and karting events. And as I drove in here today, I've never seen anything in this country like it.
Australians love a good barbecue and they love their beef. But looking after these cattle is a big job. Somebody has to do it. For the Australian drover, it's all been done off the back of a horse. For these guys, a bad horse can make for a very long day in the saddle. Throw some bad cattle into the mix and you've got yourself a perfect training ground to become an elite camp drafter.
I've got 12 horses going down there. Got 5 of my own horses and then I've got 7 clients' horses. 2 of Terry's and 2 I ride for Richard Bull, and creamy mare of Jane and Mal Kennedy's, Shakira Spin, another one of Jan Simmons.
This cowboy's droving 1,000 head of cattle an hour and a half south of Tamworth. He's also one of Australia's best camp drafting riders and trainers.
On the road is where you put the moles into them and get your basic foundation on them, get them tied, get them to where they want to work with you, not against you. Got a brake set up down here on the side of the road, down here near the tank. We've got 1,000 head, we've got them taped up in electric tape tonight. These cattle have been out for 3 months now, so they're pretty broke. We started them the first month with 2 tapes around them because there's a lot of young cattle, calves and that in them. We bring them back up and bump them past this trough and see if they want to lick there, and then put them back down in the yard.
You can't look after this many cattle on the road for 3 months without some help. Meet Troy's father-in-law, Doug.
Saladas on hay. This is it. Sometimes it doesn't happen. A bit busy. We moved them about 10 k's yesterday, but they walked out pretty well. Dogs are a fairly important part of the job. They can get to places that we can't, a lot quicker than we can. The thing is to get the right article, get the right dog and get the right horse. Better go. We've got cattle going the wrong way. Here.
Oh, bud, hurry up!
This $1 million worth of livestock on the road are thirsty, and Troy's team are flat out.
Mate!
Carting a water truck at the moment because water's pretty sparse. There's not much water along the roads. Things have been so dry for a long time.
This way, mate, we want to put it this way. I've got another guy, Lumbie, he does a bit of casual work for me. He drives a water truck. Got to stand there and sort of gradually let the cattle drink, otherwise they'll all just come in and smash the trough. The waters aren't that great on the stock routes at the moment. A lot of people say it's a dry, so I've seen it for bloody 50, 60, 70 years. All that mountain range country back up there, it's like renowned for 34, 36-inch rainfall. Last 2 years it's been the driest it's ever been through there. Like, flat out having 40 inches for the last 2 years. We're probably really only still out here because we've got a water truck. At the moment it's a pretty precious commodity. People in the city that get their beef and lamb from Woolworths and places like that, they don't realise how tough the farmers are actually doing it at the moment. was a route ranger, I'm probably going to be in trouble.
Today, some of Troy's cattle were giving him grief.
Oh, just a typical driving day, mate. Everything that can go wrong would go wrong. Cattle got in old mate's paddock down there, and I got through his shitty ass fence and in on his front lawn and run around there. Old mate come out with his dog and let his dog out, and that made it worse for a bit, but anyway, we got him off his lawn and got him out of there. It's sort of practice for your horses and that. It's just getting the basics on them so when you do start training on them at home, they've had the miles put underneath them, they're worked down, they're tired. Every horse needs a lot of wet saddle blankets and a lot of riding, and this is a pretty good job for it. Bring them out, you'll give them a month, 6 weeks, sort of ride them to a set of shoes, fall off them, and then give them a spell and change them over and bring some other ones out. Just another great day on the road. The Willinga Park Gold Buckle Championship draft, it's by far the biggest draft in Australia now, like, with $100,000 purse to the winner. And a buckle designed in America with GIS buckles. It's valued at $8,000, and Johnny Mitchell commented it's probably the nicest buckle he's ever seen. So he's probably won over 100 buckles. So whoever's wearing it at the end of the event will be pretty stoked and probably be the envy of every camp drafter in the country, I'd say. Good luck to all my fellow competitors, especially you midget Miles, you'll need it.
After droving this many cattle all week, Troy should be a favourite for the gold buckle.
The camp drafters, the cowboys, love these belt buckles. I don't know how they do their shoes up with them. That's why they have pull-on boots, I guess.
I'm not embarrassed to wear this one now.
Hey, you got to win this first.
Oh no, it's going to be a fair task. They've sent all these grubs out from America here to try and beat us.
This bloke over here could win this. It's Peter Kaminsky. I don't have a favourite. You can't have favourites in this sport because the cattle will make a fool of everyone.
This week, we will all witness some amazing horsemen and women who have trained these horses to perfection. Some of them have now turned their day job of droving into a sport. In the old days, they competed for pride. Nowadays, it's pride and big money, and everybody wants a piece of the action.
When you reach the highest level there is, you have had all the ups and downs. You've experienced everything, good and bad, and you still get so excited if you get to win a buckle that's beautiful.
And you can't have a camp draft without cattle and the fellas who deliver them.
How we going, Ralph? We haven't got all day, you know.
After the break, we meet Wal.
Well, I don't normally swear. I don't swear in front of the wife or the children. I try not to anyway. The dogs cop it.
The competition doesn't start for another 24 hours, and they are coming from everywhere. From all over Australia, these camp drafters are here chasing the cash and the gold buckle.
In the next 3 days, we're holding the World Championship Gold Buckle Willinga Park Camp Draft. We got $245,000 prize money, $100,000 for the winner of the event, plus a gold buckle. And for each round, there's a $20,000 prize. We have 5 rounds, and this has the potential of being a major Australian sport. It's got to be taken out of the bush and shown to Australia.
Sport's got bigger and bigger. Wherever you go, it's getting bigger. But we snuck down here for a few days just to see how we go.
The standard is rising all the time. Horses, riders, better horses, better trainers. Facilities like this are just going to blow it clean out of the water. It's just don't know where it's going to end up, to be honest with you.
Terry Snow had a dream and built this facility, and he's putting up the prize money. He's also wrangled Mark Barton from Landmark to give him a hand.
Hey Peter, when you got 5, I'll have a yarn to you.
As part of our Southern Camp Draft Association, I'm also a director of the Southern Camp Draft Association, so I'm really excited that we're able to assist these guys with probably the world's biggest camp draft, but also one of the greatest setups for the equine sport for any discipline you'd see in the country. So yeah, I'm really just here lending a hand and helping people find where they park, and I think a lot of these people have come 700, 800, 900 Ks. It's nice to have someone that's familiar with the surroundings when they're on their first trip here to help them find where they're parked, and it just starts the week off well, and people can look forward to the competition then. It's great to be here.
I think that truck's going to go right through.
Another fella who's travelled heaps of kilometres with a full load of horses is Huey Miles.
We've come from Tatamouth today down here to Willinga and for the first time. We left at 1:30 this morning, and we've got 20 horses on. I got Ben Hall came with me, so he's helped drive part of the way, and he's got 7 horses on, and I've got 3 sale yearlings and 10 for myself. So I've got a fair few on, and it'd be good to get here and get them off. So I mean, I'm been looking forward to it for 12 months since Troy's been talking about it, and Troy and Terry have been talking about it. So can't wait to see it. Holy smokes, check this out, boys. The lawnmower would have a bit of work to do, wouldn't he?
Hugh Miles is also one of Australia's leading camp drafters, and he's been training for this event for months.
There's always about 70 or 80 horses on here, and this time of the year's not too bad. And yeah, so we've sent a few away, and but breeding season and spring and summer, we've generally got a fair few here with all brood mares and breeding and embryoing, and it gets pretty full on, pretty hectic. I don't know where it really started, but it is an Australian sport through and through, and it's a massive industry, and it ties in really well with what people off the land do for work, and I highly recommend it to anybody. The camp draft industry and the people in the camp drafting are great people, and yeah, we are very fortunate to be able to do it. We love it. Hey! Woo! Well, back on.
Training a camp drafting horse takes a lot of time and a lot of effort, and they all don't start out perfect.
They've got to learn to understand their job and understand, what they're being asked and all the rest of it. So all those horses going to Willinga Park, most of them are all going to be older, sort of, anywhere from 7 or 8 year old upwards, and it takes these horses years to be able to understand and handle the pressure and handle the work, and handling the pressure is a really big thing. You don't necessarily have to create the pressure, it's just they get learn to get in and out of situations and not be a issue of it.
Hughie Miles. It'll be a tough competition, but I'm hoping he can bring the prize back and add to the dozen or more buckles he's got hanging proudly on the wall.
He's the man, Teddy.
Ted's number one supporter, number 1 fan.
Good luck getting it off Troy Palmer.
You think they'd notice if I'd swap mine out for it?
For some riders, they're superstitious about touching the buckle too early.
Timmy, have a look at it. You can't help yourself, you got to look at it. You got to look at it. You got to look at it. I might hide in my van, not even you take it down there yet.
So I've now taken the step of hiding it in the sock drawer at home so that I won't lose it and no one will find it. But it is a beautiful buckle, and it'll be passed down from generation to generation after the $100,000 is spent.
Now you can't have the best camp draft without the best cattle. Time to meet Wal.
My name's Walter, better known as Wal. Come from Braidwood. It's great fun. It's really good. It's a great occasion. God knows what it cost. Taking a risk. But I tell you what, 100 grand first prize money, it brings people in every time. Brings the best horsemen from Australia. One bloke brought 10 horses from central Queensland at $850 a pop tender. Their fair income. It's good for agriculture. People see cattle, horses, trucks, country blokes, country women. It's wonderful. And down here on the coast, amongst a lot of, young children probably never seen anything like it. For us people, it's all our lives, it's all we do. We've brought 900 cattle to bring down and 900 to take away. We can do about 2.5 trips a day, I suppose, mostly in southern tablelands. One load from down Nowra, a few from Goulburn. I had a go at it when I was younger, not much good. And I had a go at picking up too. That's a bit hairy. What they do with these horses is just unbelievable. And the horses love it too. They know that they've got to turn them, head them, and push them.
How we going, Ralph? We haven't got all day,
That's Ralph. He's from Braidwood.
I won't show up for sure. We'll come and get you, Ralph. We'll come and get you. Come on.
We go back 40, 50 years. Had a few schooners together.
We've been in shearers, sheds, everything. He's been a councillor on the local shire. We're both from Braidwood, see. We've had our differences, don't worry about that, but we've had a lot of fun too.
Knowing each other that long, they're a well-oiled machine.
Got to reload?
Okay.
But things can go wrong.
Your shoe breaks. Just wore out. These are my driving shoes, but I can't climb up the side with the gumboots. Yeah, look, see, broke. No way of doing it up, so fell down as I was climbing up. I don't normally swear. Don't swear in front of the wife or the children. Try not to anyway. The dogs cop it.
With so many competitors at this event, the turnover of cattle is massive and keeps Wal and the team on their toes. After the break, time to put these riders to the test.
You wait for a really good cow, you know, and people maximise their cow. And even with a sort of shit horse, you can do a good job with a good cow.
Today, it's competition day at Willinga Park. This event has the biggest camp drafting prize money on offer, and today, the biggest crowd. For some of them, this is their first look at camp drafting.
The idea of camp drafting is to highlight and promote the best horse and rider combination. They will ride into what we call the camp, an area that is restricted with approximately 12 to 14 head of cattle in it. And they will identify and select from those 12 head of cattle one beast that they think will be able to put through the course. They've got a very limited time where they select that beast. They then have to show the judges the skills that their horse and rider combination have. That score is an integral part of the overall competition. When he feels that he has shown all that he has, he'll call for the gateman to release the beast from the camp. They then compete in a course of 2 pegs and what we call a gate. Judges will score the degree of difficulty, the skill of both the horse and rider, the speed with which they can complete that course, and score the full course. They will receive 4 points. The total score out of 100 is certainly a reflection of both combination of both horse and rider. It's certainly not just on the horse, but it's certainly on the combination.
For Terry Snow's vision of exposing this sport to the rest of Australia, one way to do that is to bring in the big guns.
Well, we went to the States and put it to Johnny that he should come out and compete for the World Championship gold buckle, which he was absolutely delighted to do. He loves Australia. He's a great Australian, even though he's now residing in the States. And he's an enormous personality, and he is a very, very fine man.
I grew up in Australia and moved to America, but I went through all the youth disciplines here through Pony Club and Western Pleasure and all the events Western and did some camp drafting. When I moved over there, it was to train cutting horses. It was 20 years ago. I was very fortunate to hook up with a man out of Richmond, Virginia, and I actually built the ranch for him and everything. So it's been a wonderful opportunity. The training the horses is the priority. So yeah, it's definitely a full-time job and a career. It's been quite a while since I've been here and been a part of this sport. And I think one of the big things with camp drafting is you're seeing it from any age. The males and females, everybody's equal, and that will never change, because you've got the element of a cow and a horse competing, and that is what makes it a family sport, and it also makes it a very interesting sport. This is another step forward to, I really think, make it a professional sport, and it's growing at a rate that no one can get a finger on. As far as the whole weekend's going to be, it's outstanding. Outstanding set of horses, outstanding facilities. To come home and be a part of it is honour. And to answer questions or help out or whatever it takes. I think you never forget where you come from, and it's a long way up and it's a long way down. So I think if you remember everyone along the way and treat everyone the same and be yourself, but make no mistake, I come back to try and win the Willinga Park gold buckle.
As the sun goes down at Willinga Park, things were only just warming up. Tonight's event is one feature that all riders have been looking forward to, the winner-take-all cutout.
I tell you what, when it comes to the cutouts anywhere in the land, this is one of the best here. Butsy there. Make a noise. For those at home that haven't seen this before, what we've got up here is a camp of 9 cattle. We've got two strong blokes on the front gate to try and hold that gate closed for as long as they can. These horsemen and horsewomen are going to bring these cattle up the front. They're going to cut one out of the group, and they're going to show these judges their ability to try and hold one up the front as long as they can and score a possible 26 points. We've got Scotty Shea in the camp. He's the guy who organised the cattle. He's the bloke who drafted the cattle. Now he's going to bring this young one up the front, and let's start to make a noise and show people that don't know camp drafting. Let's make a noise, shout it out.
Next up was Johnny Mitchell. Cutting horses in America is how he makes his living.
Yeah, the cutout. 2 mares tonight, so we'll have a bit of fun in that too.
One by one, our horse and rider combinations show us what they've got. But things can go wrong. In the camp, keeping the cow away from the rest of the herd is not as easy as it looks.
Nobody feels embarrassed about getting the whip in the yard, what you call cracked off in the yard, because when you start to cut your steer out, you have a system, what you call a drop back. That's if you lose your working advantage with the cow up the front of the yard where you're working. If you drop him back to the back fence twice, you'll get cracked off in the camp. And they use a stock whip to crack people off.
So what is the secret to a good cutout?
You've got to have the right horse to start with, and you only probably get one real good horse every 10 to 12 years.
It's all really down to the cow. Like, you wait for a really good cow, you know, and people maximise their cow. And even with a sort of horse, you can do a good job with a good cow.
When I'm picking cattle, I want to watch the reaction off the horse. But a good soft eye, you know, and watching it, you can feel the cow watching with its ear. And if it's watching you and paying attention and not trying to get away too strong, but it's got some feel to move off, is what you're after.
Another hot favourite for the gold buckle and the championship is Pete Kamitsky.
Go on now! Up here! Up here!
As with most equestrian sports, the footing is very, very important. Bit of pride, but horse and rider safe. It's all part of the cutout.
This is your $50,000 gelding, and I tell you what, one of the last of the Romeo sons there, ladies and gentlemen.
They can be the greatest rider and have the greatest horse, and still the beast will make a fool of them. That's happened many, many times. The leading riders in the country do not always win.
One of Australia's leading dressage riders, Brett Parbury, now residing at Wallinga Park, was keen for a run. With a few tips from Johnny Mitchell, he's ready for action.
This is my family. I grew up in the camp draft family, and it's good to be back around everyone, and yeah, it's just great. Yeah, mate, it's been a while since I've been in the camp, probably 30 years, but yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
An Australian Olympian there for you, ladies and gentlemen. Cut his teeth in camp drafting, and he's going to make one. See if he can try and rattle the cage for us now. Tell us what you're feeling now.
Oh, that was awesome. I might give up dressage and come back to this.
All Scotty Bandy has to do is get this cow out the gate and he's home and hosed.
Here we are, not too many left, ladies and gentlemen. Winner takes all.
Wait till there's one cow. Wait till there's one cow.
And we've got ourselves a winner.
This is a guy that's won the man from Snowy River. Probably one of the, in more recent time, one of the best saddle bronc riders the country's produced.
Well, I knew there was some pretty good scores in front, like 23s, and yeah, I just tried to get him up the front and take control of the cow, and yeah, horse worked good, so yeah, it paid off. Winner take all. There's no good going in there
with a safety net. You've got to throw everything at them and hope it pays off.
Got him, Andy!
Mate.
Even though they're tough competitors, there's a lot of respect between all the camp drafters.
I think it was the cheering. Yeah, well, definitely. Thanks, Chris. Thanks, mate. Good on you. Well done, buddy. Thanks, mate. Thanks, mate. Good on you.
More Outback Cowboys after the break. It's qualifying day at Willinga Park, and for all these riders and the Kamitsky family, camp drafting is in their blood.
My name's Pete Kamitsky. I come from Mackay, west of up in North Queensland. This is my son Peter. He's a 5-year-old, just about to start school next year, so he's still in prep, so a bit of time away from school, and he's here to work his horses. He's been out and visited with his grandparents this week.
My name is Handkerchief. She's a 10-year-old, and I'm happy to be at the camp drafts. I learned to cut out. You have a cow, and it just goes back and forwards.
The new Cattle Saver electric cow was a big hit with Pete Jr.
I suppose I've camp drafted since I was a bit older than him. I think I had my first run at about 8 years old. This bloke's 5. So yeah, camp drafting is about all we know. We have a couple of thousand head of cattle that we see to at home, and a couple of guys that have been working with me for 20 years now, so we're very fortunate that we can get away from our property and our animals and pack up the kids. We've got a 12-horse rig or 14, 15-horse rig, and we come down here and yeah, enjoy a couple of camp drafts and a bit of a trip around, see some other parts of the country, and then poke on home. Yeah, so that's all pretty good.
Today, Pete's out early. The other competitors are nervous. Pete Kamitsky is renowned as one of Australia's best camp drafters.
Just an absolute freak of a competitor. Doesn't matter what horse he's on, he can put cattle around on any horse. He's just nothing fazes him. He's as cool as. Every time he steps in the yard, he just keeps putting them round after round.
Pete Jr.'s warm-up on Handkerchief must have worked. Through the gates and qualified. Next up, his old rival, Troy Palmer.
I steered it was pretty tough. She gets down pretty low with the cow. She takes a bit of riding, and then got to running all over the place outside, and she did a big job to hold it. We were travelling fairly quick, and she had to do a lot of checking, watch your guard a bit, or she'll step out from under you.
His little mare was up to the task, as was Troy. Another great round. There was also a couple of nervous young riders hoping to qualify. These kids are the future.
Luke Cheney, 16, come from Blaney. Great highlight to come down here to Willinga Park with the gold buckle. It's their first year. There's people here, they're about 70, and there's people here my age, 16. They're all having fun, whether they're winning or losing. It's been pretty keen since I put my entries in. I like to get on roughly do about 40 runs before my run. I'll try to keep calm, to keep the horse calm, and it was a good round, yeah.
Another youngster is James Moorhead.
This is the only sport I compete in and have done all the way through my schooling career. I wouldn't be here if I didn't have my mum, because I can't drive and mum can.
Yeah, he's a good boy. He's his worst enemy probably. Wants to do really well in pretty tough company.
Terry's also a big supporter of young camp drafters.
Lucky to draw the cow I did to be able to put it around, because they haven't been easy enough today, you know, they've been tough enough.
Score there for James Moorhead, 87.67.
Kimberly Salmon played a big part in my camp draft career, because without her help I definitely wouldn't be here today.
I've just had the best week. A lot calmer than I probably should be, actually. I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing. We come down here and we know we're competing against the best in Australia, probably the world. I just sort of come here to try and get some scores. I mean, obviously we all want to win, but it was pretty tough in the yard, so I didn't really waste any time in trying to get out into the arena. And then it was just a matter of, you know, I just really needed to read that cow. I wasn't running for a 90, I was just running to get a score on the board. I didn't think that cow had a lot of points in it. It was just a cow that I could get a score on and qualify for the final.
Another rider hoping to qualify here today is Johnny Mitchell, fresh from the States, hasn't camp drafted for a long time.
Outside, you have a bit of give and take.
Yep.
You work for it.
Huh?
You've got to work it.
Well, but you know, it's still good, yeah, just reinforce it.
In America, Johnny Mitchell has won over $4 million in prize money in cutting. Let's see how he goes here. Johnny's first run was a tough one. Welcome back to Australia.
In the camp was good, you know, I was a 21, and I come out through the gates there spot on, and as I got out through there, I bent that heifer to the left. She sort of sat up and come round quick, you know, and they were a little tricky and touchy, but, you know, when it comes down to it, that was still my fault, you know, I didn't get it just right, and so that was that. I had a camp score and that's it.
Johnny wasn't the only one having a bit of trouble. This sport is a great leveller. Up next, one of Australia's leading camp drafting ladies and new mum, Kylie Barnett.
I started camp drafting when I was quite young, about 8. My grandfather got me into camp drafting. He bred Australian stock horses. Well, the women are becoming more and more prevalent in the camp drafting world. I think they've sort of decided now that they can match it just as good as the men can. There's a lot of really competitive women out there, and I think it's just a confidence thing. If they feel if they've got a horse underneath them, that they feel like they can match it.
Lucy Bird, she's travelled down from Queensland with her husband Carl. Got the son?
15, no, he left him at home. Yep, got a few days on our own. Travelled 15 hours to get down here.
Honeymoon on the south coast?
Oh, I don't know about that.
I think we all put in a lot of money into our horses and put a lot of pride into what we do. It's really nice, this sort of level of money and prizes is, it's definitely exciting.
This Warringah Park camp draft is some of Australia's best riders and best camp drafting horses. Terry Snow has a breeding plan.
With the development of the sport will become a development of the industry in supplying horses to the sport, because now with the prize money of $100,000 for a win, people would be considering maybe that they could buy a horse and have one of the young men or ladies train it and ride it. And that's the exciting development of the sport.
25,000, Johnny Palmer holds a marble. 25,000 metre, a wonderful, wonderful mare. All over and done at 25,000. Quick, betting, one him up, all done. Nice mare.
The sales are a really exciting part of the whole program here at Warringah Park. Some fantastic genetics, both quarter horse, stock horse, but they're bred to be performance horses. So the industry's creating more and more incentives for young horses. We've seen some of the best in the country here competing. It's mind-blowing for people like us that have been in the sport for a long time to see what the next level really could be.
At the gate, Peter Hancock on Simply Spectacular, and 15 Ben Hall on Woodacre.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, one of these winners will take home $100,000.
And the gold buckle. When we come back, it's game on at Warringah Park. While people have come from everywhere for the Warringah Park Gold Buckle Camp Draft, for the riders, today is D-Day. $100,000, a custom saddle and the coveted gold buckle is up for grabs.
Going to head on down there now and watch these next few rounds. Yeah, there's going to be some good drafting.
While the crowd are excited, for the organisers, it's a dream come true.
Well, it's been accepted and the community are loving it, and here we are cranking up to the final. It's just so exciting. I'm really wetting myself. It's fantastic.
For our competitors, it's showtime.
Pete Comiskey, Nebo. From Coola, New South Wales, Troy Palmer. Huey Miles from Tamworth. This time from Beaudesert, Queensland, Kimberley Salmon. Scott Bandy, our winner of the cutout last night from Tooma. And one of
Terry Hall and Peter Hancock from Murray Bridge, South Australia. Well, ladies and gentlemen, one of these winners will take home $100,000.
A treat for the crowd before the big event is Brett Parbury putting on a dressage display. Today he swapped his cowboy hat for his top hat and tails.
In the town I grew up in, you either went rodeoing or you stuck with polo cross or show jumping. It was sort of that way. So I grew up on the mid-north coast of New South Wales, a place called Dorrigo. And I went rodeoing with my mates. A number of these guys actually went on to be world superstars. That mentality of being around those guys and competing and the whole thing, they're good here. And so I just got picked up in a swell with those sorts of people. And then I was actually in America. It was then that the fire went out of me a little bit for that, and I actually, because I always struggled because I was a little bit tall to be a really super top bronc rider. So the passion actually started up to I wanted to come home and train horses, and then it just led into dressage, and I've been there ever since. I don't think that story's been replicated by anyone else, but here we are, and love it.
With the crowd and the camp drafting competitors all impressed by Brett's performance, there's just one more thing to do before the final.
Australians, all let us rejoice, for we are young and free. We've golden soil and wealth for toil. Our home is girt by sea.
Come on, ladies and gentlemen, a big round of applause for our competitors. History being made in our Willinga World Championship Camp Drafting Competition. Well, ladies and gentlemen, get ready to rumble because our first competitors are just about set to go.
To win this competition, it's so important you get a good cow. Up first is Greg Charleston.
So out on course now, we have number 1, Greg Charleston on Zanzibar. Into the camp, number 2, Darren Brislane on Boy. Patrick Hardwick is the owner of Boy, and Darren is from Wingham.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, there is nearly $100,000 riding on this run. You better make a little noise as it gets close to that gate. Come on, first competitor out, the Willinga World Championship.
Well, did he cross the finish line or not? The judges are conferring as Greg rides back to have a little look for himself. While the crowd think he did, it's also a yes from the judges. Remember, it's the total of these two scores that'll get them a gold buckle. Next into the camp is Mark Buttsworth on One Stylish Pepto.
Ladies and gentlemen, keep an eye on this man. There's not too many better. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the legendary horseman here in Australia, Mark Buttsworth.
A great score there from Mark Buttsworth. One of the quality female riders, Kimberly Salmon, is next.
Well, it's great to have two girls made the finals this weekend, Lucy Sellers and Kimberly Salmon. Be nothing more fitting to see one of the girls as our eventual overall winner. Tell you what, the girls on the grandstand side are pretty quiet at this stage. Kimberly Salmon representing all the girls here this weekend. Kimberly's pushing, line him up, push. Well, she competes against the finest camp draft men in the land. Boy, she can hold her own in any camp draft arena, in any style of competition.
Actually not as nervous as I thought I'd be. Actually got to give full credit to my chief strapper, Jess, my sister. She picked the cow and yeah, I just had to handle it, so pretty happy.
We've got Terry Hall, Hazelwood and Mantic. Earlier today, he won the consolation camp draft, took home $5,000 as a consolation. Terry Hall. Well, ladies and gentlemen, he's enjoyed success all over the nation, and it's a pleasure to have him down from Gundawingi. Terry Hall riding Hazelwood Mantic.
Well, bad luck there for Terry Hall. Up next, his son Ben gets his chance.
Well, here is one of the competitors that can certainly challenge for that competition. This is Ben Hall, ladies and gentlemen, from Muttaburra, North Queensland. Boy, he's putting some pressure on around that second turn. Remember, Ben came in with an 88.33 seconds. He's been in this position many, many times at Australia's biggest camp drafting events. Ladies and gentlemen, let's steer him through that gate. Come on, Muttaburra. Benny Hall, can he do it? Oh, can he do it? He certainly can. Well, how cool was he under pressure? Now the numbers are coming through. It is going to be extremely close now.
With plenty of riders still to come, when we come back, we will find a winner of the Warlinga Park Gold Buckle Camp Draft.
He'll stay here next year.
This is the grand final of the Warlinga Park Gold Buckle Camp Draft, and up next is Huey Miles.
We have 22, Hugh Miles on Two Time and Chick, owned by Peter and Carolyn Doonan. Hugh's come down from Tamworth and goes into the final with an 89.33.
Ladies and gentlemen, he would appreciate that round of applause. That is Hugh Miles.
In the hunt for the gold buckle, next is Andrew Turvey.
Okay, on course we have this time, all the way from St. George, Andrew Turvey, little horse owned by he and his wife, his lovely wife Courtney Turvey. They make the home in St. George. Around that second peg. Remember, he was one of the big leaders in the competition. Ladies and gentlemen, a very popular figure here this afternoon, Andrew Turvey, riding his little horse called Request.
Fresh cattle to start with, it's drew out number 9, so it's a good draw in the final. It's close to the start, but you know, not too far back, and got two good cows came in, and yeah, just lucky enough to put them around.
We have just tallied the numbers for Andrew Turvey. 176.67, a new leader in the competition. Andrew Turvey from St. George in Queensland.
With that announcement happening in the background, the pressure is on Pete Kamitsky.
So out on course now, we have number 11, Pete Kaminsky on Paris.
Pete Kamitsky now the new leader. Troy Palmer's got one run left to win the gold buckle and the $100 grand.
He won't leave, he'll stay here next year.
I had a good draw, so two fresh ones come in, and I took the smallest steer that kind of suited my mare, and he was nice to cut out, nice and soft, and then you know, a couple of times I needed to check my mare good. She sat good, and yeah, put him around the course in pretty good time, so very happy with the mare and yeah, happy with the round, I guess.
Well, it's showtime now for our drover. Can Troy Palmer get that gold buckle off his old mate Pete Kaminsky?
The competitor from Coolah, and I'll let you in on a little secret. The horse that he's riding is owned by Terry Snow from Willinga Park. Come on, Troy, bring him around. Well, ladies and gentlemen, that's an outstanding little horse called Hell's a Comin', owned by Terry Snow, and it was Troy Palmer in the saddle from Coolah. He qualified the first round this morning with a score of 83.66.
Started out good, 23 and a third in the yard, 23.3. Started all right. Two pretty good pegs. Steer just cut away on me a bit harder than the second peg, and yeah, just struggled to get a bit of traction and get going to the second peg from the second peg to the gate. They're good, strong cattle. They're sort of pretty relentless. They don't ease up on you anywhere around the course. And they've got a very fast, fit horse. I always say there's no substitute for speed. They just probably just need another half a yard. He just sort of cut away a bit in the second peg, got me out of position a bit, but mare worked good. I was really happy with it.
Well, it's all over for Troy Palmer, but we have a winner of the Willinga Park World Championship Gold Buckle Camp Draft.
An outstanding performance, 179 points. Let's hear it for the boy from Nemo, Queensland, Pete Kaminsky.
When you went through that gate over there, it was something else. So, yeah, it's a great feeling. I don't know whether it'll sink in that we've actually won $100,000, but anyway, I can work on that thought on the way home. I've got plenty of time. There's about 2,500 Ks to think about it, so I think I'll get plenty of time to think about that on the way home, Morgs. Camp drafting, you know, it's a outlet for rural Australia, you know, so the country come together with the city and we all speak the same language and, you know, enjoy the same things, you know. It's all about getting the horse that wants to do the job, and, you know, it doesn't matter at what level you come or at what age you can, you know. I've got a 5-year-old son that competes nearly every week right through to, you know, there's some guys in the New England that are in their 80s and still enjoying the sport, and that comes with, you know, mum and dad and the wife as well. I mean, our ladies right throughout, as we saw in the final, are just as hard to beat as any of the men in the industry. So, you know, with so many demands in the, you know, in the family to go and get that good horse and buy him, but, you know, events like this coming on board, they're going to put a real base in our horse values, and, you know, one of those old horses to go and buy him and take him away on the weekend, have some fun on him, he's going to become of true value, and, you know, after what Terry and his crew here at Willinga Park have done.
While Terry Snow's dream of staging the Willinga Park Gold Buckle Camp Draft has come true, Pete Kaminsky's dream of winning it has paid off. $100,000, a custom saddle, and the coveted Willinga Park Gold Buckle. Well, that wraps it up for the very first Willinga Park World Championship Gold Buckle Camp Draft. And what a success. For Australia's camp drafting community and our Outback Cowboys, they can't wait for the next one.